Okay. These are the most fun, addictive things. I was like playing with them all night, or not all night. Yesterday, I was playing with them, but they're just so much fun. So, can everyone see the table that I have? My table.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So, the
Yes.
things that we need for this, we can doodle. We're going to do the gems first, and then doodling is we can spend more time next week or the week after. But we were going to concentrate on making the gems, and then we're going to, that's something, the doodling part is something we can do later. um, but today what you need for the gems is some like a smooth, something like your journal page, which I find that this journal page is a little rougher. It's not as smooth as this Bristol cardstock. I'm able to get a smoother gem by the smoother paper. And if you just have plain typing paper, that's fine too, because that's real smooth. So it's just a nice smooth paper, but with a little bit of tooth. You don't want it so smooth that the pencil doesn't grab. This is just, there's all different ways to get these blended. I have some gems that I'm going to just show you how I figure out the light on this. These are just some clear flat back, those things you get at the dollar store.
Mhm.
This one was one that I got for one of our projects, but it's just something clear so you can see how light works. I also have this little light wand. If you have a flashlight or just even a light source that you can kind of direct anywhere like even a little lamp or something small that you can direct light. This is something that I don't need all the time because I have in my memory where the light comes from. But this is a really good exercise, so you'll know where light comes from and how to make something look realistic, especially glass or things like that. So what I'm going to do first, and then of course pencils. I have an assortment of pencils. I'm going to make one of my gems green. So what I've got is kind of an array of dark to light, medium
Mm.
tone pencils. So you want your, just kind of even if you only have three, a dark, medium, and light, that would be good. So you decide to make them in any color, whatever color range you want. Another thing is also we want a fine tip pen, a blending stump. Remember we made one not too long ago. Erasers are good to have if you have them. If you don't, that's okay. Just a white pen is good for making highlights. However, whatever you have in your arsenal, a white pen or some white ink. And now we'll get started. I'm excited. And one thing that I'd like to do is I have these stencils I've had for a long time, just different kinds. And this one I thought was really cool because it has these like wonky shapes. They're like kind of
Mhm.
ovalish
Wow.
shapes,
Yeah.
and they're really kind of fun. But you could just do it by hand, of course. But I'm going to show you. It makes a nice way to sort of start your stencils if you have round or oval shaped, or even just the lid of something, like if you have a little lid. And if everybody could mute for now, then we'll get started. We're all mute. There we go. We're all good. Okay. So let's get started. This is fun. So I'm turning on my light source, and I want you just to see why I do this. And it's only just for now. I won't do it forever, but I want you to see when you're looking at a gem, let's say there's flatback gems, you see if you look at my gems. Of course, this light source is really close. I might and you can decide, okay, is my light source going to be above, or is it going to be, which way direction is it going?
Mm.
You'll see where the highlights are, where the light is coming from. The highlights are the most bright. And then the light goes through, and then there's this white light area in the back. It's really interesting. Of course, I have my overhead light. If I turn my overhead light off, I'm going to just show you some different things. This is just a way to visualize just going to turn off the overhead light real quick so that you'll be able to see this a lot better. So if I just turn that off, um, you can see how what happens with light.
Yeah.
And that is really important when you're making anything realistic. If you're looking at it, just looking at it, of course you'll see that. So I'm going to put my light source I'm going to have it up. So I'm going to just prop it up somehow without making it fall. There, that's a good one. So I've got these gems here, and I'm going to just stick them over here so I can kind of let's see, where would I do this? Where I'm going to see, there we are. I'm going to put it here so you can see in here. And I'm going to draw on this page, on this piece of, on my journal. There we go. I'm just going to get it so that the book part's out of the way. And this is what I'm going to be drawing on. So I'm going to take my gem, and I can kind of see, depending on where I want, if I want it up here, it just all depends. It's like if I float it, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to kind of float this thing. This thing's kind of big. It's a big light wand. There we go. That may fall. If it falls, it goes kaboom, then it does. Okay, so there it is. Now I've got my light source. And what I'm going to do first, let's just draw a circle. It could be, let's just do if you have a circle or a circle template, whatever you've got, or if not, just freehand it. I'm going to put this kind of right here. I want my circle to be here. Now you can do it with a pen. I'm going to use an 03 pen. And I'm just going to create a circle right in this part here. Go all the way around with your pen. Yeah, that's my gem. That's going to be a gem. Normally, sometimes it's fun to do them in these little wonky ones. Like here's one. If you want to do a group of 3 or something like that, like I did with this. And I left this one open because I wanted to. I'm going to fill this in. This is what I did yesterday. Just keep practicing, but. I actually did the doodling first this time, which is not normal for me. Normally, I would do the doodling afterwards, like this one. I did the gem first, and then I just doodled outward. But here, I just thought it'd be fun to try it differently. So you can let's just start with one gem. Make your circle, and this one is about 1.5 inches in diameter. Now I'm going to put away my pen. I don't need it for a while. And I'm going to make this a green gem. So I kind of want to I'm going to observe my light source. Really, what I wanted to do is have it kind of going through. Let's see if I can get this even better. Unfortunately, my little lights are coming through. I'm not able to see it myself, but at least I think I maybe have too bright of a thing. But so what happens is I've got my brightest point here, but then there's light, kind of a glow sort of coming out the back. So whatever direction your light is, your brightest part here will be that it's dark, and then it kind of glows. So let's just do this together. I'll turn this little glow wand off because it's kind of distracting me right now. And you could see with my regular lights, it's kind of just sort of diffused because I have a diffused lighting thing here. So I'm just going to turn that up real quick. We'll play with lights and just get an idea of how lights are going to affect reflection. So today, I'm going to visualize where the light source is. It's coming from up here, up to my kind of like a 10 o'clock position. And what we're going to do is we're first going to take, let's say, a medium tone, kind of this medium color green. And I'm going to, I'm going to just move this way. I'm going to color. I'm going to remember there's this light area here. So I'm going to kind of start in a circle, sort of in the lower, like it looks like I'm starting an olive. So I'm kind of going lightly, and then I'm just going to color all the way, just kind of a soft coloring. And really, you can go in different directions, but you want a softness. So you don't want a lot of pencil marks if you can avoid it, depending on what kind of paper you have. Let's just take that color and go all the way in that circle, except leave an area light. I don't know if you can see this yet because it is such a kind of a lightish green. We'll keep coloring until it becomes so you can see it. But leave this little area kind of in the lower part. Leave that kind of light. Okay. You can just kind of go in a circle and just kind of either do cross hatching or circular. Just go inside your circle. And this will be your first layer. There's going to be many layers of coloring here. And this I notice is a very light green. I'm going to go on like a more medium tone. Let's see, I'll try this kind of green. This might be a little better. Now what I'm going to do, I've got this nice one color laid down. And now I'm going to bring in another green. This is a little darker. just not much, but it's a little bit darker. And I'm going to bring this, I'm going to kind of fill it in, but I'm going to start thinking about the light and the dark here. So I'm just coloring and kind of go dark where I could look at my gems there on the here, and I'm seeing where the light and the dark is happening. And if I try to duplicate this exactly, I don't really want to, because I see my little camera lights are just over a little too much. But if I ignore those little camera lights and I see a bright light, a bright highlight here and a glow coming through, I'm just going to kind of follow that. Follow how I'm just going to go. And if you've done spheres before, remember this is more of a gem, so it's got a flat back. It's like a cabochon in jewelry terms. And I'm going to kind of leave this area right in here. I'm leaving it light. I'm not worrying about the light and the top, because I'm going to take care of that with the highlighting pen. So in fact, I'm just going to let that color go all the way up to the light. And you can turn your paper, turn your, if you want to turn your paper, but always remember where your light source is. So like if I even mark it, I can even mark it with a pencil. Let's just mark our light source like this. And we can always erase that. That, if we just remember, that's where our light source is coming from. Make a little arrow, and then when you're turning it, you'll still always know that that's where it's coming from. So that might be a really good way. So we're gonna get this medium, kind of a medium-ish green, or if you have a medium purple or medium blue, whatever color you're making your stone, your gem. Okay, now I'm going to go a little bit, I'm going to go to a lighter color because I want to get this, I've got this kind of light green chartreuse yellow color. I'm just going to bring this in to, I'm going to still leave a slight, I'm leaving that white right here for now. I'm just going to bring that yellow color in because I wanted to warm up the green a little bit. Now I need to start thinking of darks. So bring in a darker green or a darker, whatever your color is, and start looking at where your darks are. So here we're going to just we're going to go around, and I'm just going to kind of see where my darks are, and I'm going to do it all, maybe in the front, there's a nice dark area. But I will highlight this with the white. If you don't have white, you could leave the highlight right here. But let's just look. If we have a white pen, you want to do that. You want to bring that. You just go ahead and make it dark, and don't worry about that highlight until after we're done making the whole thing. So now I've got this little fine line of dark right here. I don't want to put too much, but just a little bit where the light comes through. And then I'm just going to kind of bring that dark. In this place, you've got to kind of crosshatch a little bit. At least on my journal, I notice it's a lot rougher. So I'm kind of crosshatching a little. I'm just kind of moving it around so I don't have obvious direction in my lines. Same thing here. I'm going to bring this color, and I'm going to just look at my gem. And if you want to just follow this is really, you could just see how if I go darker to the border, it gives that slight, it curves it up. It makes this dark area it sort of recedes, and it makes it look more dimensional already. And even though we're not nearly there yet, but it's getting there. So now I'm just going to bring that darker green kind of to surround. Maybe just see I'm kind of concentrating the color or the darkness on one part. Okay, so I've got this sort of looks like kind of a marbly shape. I'm going to also bring some of that dark green this way too. Up. And concentrate your dark kind of at this part, but this where the light's coming through, concentrate that dark kind of on the outer edge of your circle. Oops, I just went outside the line. Oh boy.
Me
That's
too.
all right. Yeah, it's all right to go outside the line. It's if it does, we're gonna cover it up anyway. So just no worries. Let's just get those highlight you'll feel that dimension. You'll see the dimension. All right, so now I'm going to take a medium tone green, another medium tone. And if you want to add, just to be a little different, like instead of, I'm kind of sticking with greens, but if I wanted to add a little blue, just to kind of give it a multicolored effect, you can do that too. Just, here, I'll just do this real quick. I'll put a medium blue, and I'm just going to kind of bring it in there just to give my gem a little different, some color differences. So it's not just a solid green, but this is the medium tone now. And the more you layer, the softer it will look. So I'm just kind of throwing in that just for fun. So you don't have to make your gem perfectly one color. You can see I'm still leaving that light here, and this is darker. Now take a darker color. Like I've got this, the darkest color you've got. Let's see. I think that maybe this is a really dark green. I'm going to go ahead and go around again, right on the edge. Take my darker color and just blend that in the edge. Just blend it up. Start really dark at the edge and then just kind of blend it softly so that you can see that dimension. Still, it starts, you'll really see that shape taking form. I'm going to bring that dark and I'm going to let it, I'm going to kind of shade it right up at this top here. And I'm going to go around and do the same all the way around the stone. Except I'm not going to put anything at the bottom part where the light leaves the stone. When the light enters, you want it darker. Where the light's exiting, you want it lighter. It's just the kind of the way that the light goes through one of these glass pebbles. And since we get to make them any color we want, I'll put a little bit of a border, just a thin, like a thin part at the bottom. Very thin. That gives it kind of, just keeping that spot right in this area, keeping it light. So we've got kind of a nice shape happening, or a nice color. Now take a medium tone, green or whatever color, medium color that you have. And now you can sort of blend it with the medium tone, and it also enriches the whole thing. It softens the lines. I'm just going to kind of go all over, except I'm going to leave this alone. This area where my finger is, I'm leaving that alone. I'm just going to just take a medium tone pencil, and really that will help soften it and enrichen the color. And then I'm going to just gently go around my little light area that I've been saving and bring some color down here, down at the bottom, but not the dark color, just the lightish color. And I'm just kind of sort of swirling it around very softly, and you'll start to see it become more dimensional. And now that I'm looking at it, mine from a distance, it's really good. And then if I blur my eyes, it looks great. I can see the highlights and the low lights are kind of what I'm looking at. I still haven't put my white down. Now you can just keep working it until you get the desired effect that you want. And then what we want to do, I'm going to add a little more of this beautiful emerald, kind of a richer color. Now to create the veins or the little cracks that are in the gem, I'll show you how we do that. I still haven't put my white up yet. Just taking just leaving that bottom glow, and I've got this other little area of light kind of happening here. So next step is to make those little cracks that are happening. And how you do that is you just take a very sharp, you want to make sure that your tip is nice and sharp. Take the darkest color that you have of your greens, or whatever you have, your dark blues, your dark purples, and you're going to just do a random line, but very, very gentle. I'm going to start a line, and I'm going to kind of go a little wibbly wobbly, but like a cross. And then I'm going to do like a little little cracks. I'm just making cracks. And I go bring a crack down this way, very thin, and then maybe a crack this way. Kind of imagine cracks in a glass. And then you just kind of you can thicken your lines a little bit, like in some areas, to make it look more natural. See how I'm kind of just creating these little fissures or cracks, kind of like when you're doing a branch of a tree. It kind of looks like that too. So just kind of make them go wherever you want them to go, kind of just what seems natural to you. So I just did these little cracks, if you can see those. They can go through your white area, that's fine. I'm going to bring another one down right through, just kind of have it intersect right here. So I have these little cracks. Now I'm gonna take a darker, even a slightly darker one, and just kind of make dark and light areas with the cracks. And you can make little like dots too, just stuff to make it look like it has inclusions. You can do that. So I've got that, and that's pretty strong, but I'm still haven't blended it yet. I haven't gone with my blender. So I'm going to just take my dark pencil that I used to make my cracks, and I'm just going to do some more darkening in some of the areas around the edge of the circle, the outer edge. That's just going to give me so much more dimension. Okay, so next step, or the last step, after you've gotten this kind of laid out the way you like, you can use a blender pencil, or you can just use white if you have a white one. I'm going to show you how to do it with a white one. I just have white, and with the white pencil, you can blend beautifully. It softens. In fact, I like it better when I use a white. I like it better than I like using a blender. But so when you're blending with a white, it's going to soften all those little pencil marks. It should just soften it right up. If you have a blender pencil, which is basically colorless, it's basically a colored pencil without the color, you can use that as well. Make sure like I have some residue of another pencil. Just make sure it doesn't have any color on the end. And the same thing, you can blend with your colorless blender the same way. And just go in different directions to soften those colored pencil edges. Or if you have a light color, like this one, I have this chartreuse color, which I could blend with too. That would give my gem a more warmer glow because it has this yellow in it. So that you could do something like that too. Like I'll just show you that when you layer, the more you just keep working it, you're going to get such a rich, soft color. So there it is. I've got my gem. It's looking pretty good. The last part is you take a white pen. If you have a jelly roll, or in this one is a Uniball Signo, you can use a paint marker, whatever you've got. You want it to be perfectly white and as opaque as possible. If you look at your gem and you imagine, for this one, I've got to get my light source again. Turn it on real quick. Okay, so I'm going to turn my light source on. I see it. And of course, it's a funny wand, but I see it kind of arches in the shape of the light source. The light highlights arch in the same direction of the circle. So when you're doing your light source, or your bright highlights, which is so important when you're doing this glass, you want to make your mark. So I'm going to do here's my light source coming down. So I'm going to make a kind of a half smile or a little half frown or something. Now this pen has to be certainly too dry. Let's see if I can get it to start here. So I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go in a sort of a half circle, kind of just to follow the outer edge of that outer black line of my circle. So just going on the outside like this is a good way. Now this pen, I'm going to try a different pen because I have so much wax on there. I think this is a wax-based pencil, so they tend to, repel the water-based pen. So I'm going to try this white-based one and see. So I'm just going to take that. I've got that curve going. And now I'm going to just take it and thicken it a little bit. Like that. Just thicken it. And then you can kind of narrow it at the ends. Kind of how you would see when you see a light source. And then this is a pretty bold one. I could go a little bit more conservatively, but I thought I'm going to try a bolder highlight and see what happens. So it's kind of an arc. And then you would just take, you might see some other highlights like with the windows or whatever light is coming in, you might see. Go ahead and lighten those. And then you could do, there, got that. It's kind of, that's my light there. Now this is already light. I don't need to add, but if you had lost some of it, you'd want to maybe just do a little dot of light over here. And just kind of make the light wherever you want to make the light. You can also make the light kind of, I see some light coming out, like little highlights that are kind of popping out under here. Oops, get that going. Little highlights that are just going on the outside of my gem. I see just a little bit going on. So you can put a few there, like right on the outside, just a little thin line, which will give you that light. And I'm just going to hit this one a little bit more. So I've got my gem, I think is pretty gemmy-like, if I want. Now you can take a black if it's still not dark enough. Let's say, or you want to get like a super, super dark color. This is Prussian blue, that might be nice. You still want to get some darks or around your highlights. Now that we've established a highlight, I'm going to take a medium, let's see, this is pretty dark green here. This is a way to kind of get your highlights even more bright. You would just take right outside where your highlights were, very softly go around with your darker pencil, not too much, but just a little bit, just to kind of make that pop a little bit more. I'm going around my highlights. I don't want to go over my highlights, but I'm going around them a little bit. And that kind of makes them just more, it makes them more brighter, if that makes sense. And you can do the same thing with your highlights down in your, wherever you have them, just kind of surround them a little, like a little halo of dark. That will also bring them out too. And then you can take your darker dark, like I have this Prussian blue, and I'm just going to go right in this section here, and I'm just going to darken it even more to make that pop a little bit more, right on the outside of my circle. And then maybe a little bit here on the light. And then just bring that, just for dimension, you can always bring a little bit more color and light wherever you feel it will just suit it more the best. And so there is a gem. That one's done. Now to build, see where if you've gone outside the line, no worries. To build on the outside of your, to start drawing on the outside, you would just go around and like I'm going to make a little line that's, about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to start, now this is the part where it's for me to try to get the lines to connect. I'm going to start with my pen and I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch out, and I'm just going to follow as best I can, go very slowly, the best I can. And now if I lift my pen up, I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to try to start it at the same place and just kind of go around your circle about 1/8, it's about 1/8. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is the way that I found that I'm doing. If I had a bigger template, then I could just go outside of that. But this gives it a more natural look anyway, because there we go. Just get your lines to join up there. So so that's my first part of the doodle on the outside. And then what you could do is you could make you can do little circles like here. I'm going to make some circles on the top and the bottom and the sides of these, just some circles right inside that line there, or some shapes. That gives it kind of starts that jewelry sort of thing. We're designing our own jewelry, basically. And then You can just start to doodle in the lines. You could make scallops like this. If I wanted to make little scallops on the outside, you can make little scallops. And go all the way. Just do all little scallops on the outside. And all this will look really great afterward. When we shade everything, the shading really creates a nice, it gives it dimension, plus it hides all those little imperfections. Just go around. And you'll do some mindful doodling around it. And Zentangles, if you have Zentangle patterns, which I want to share with you some Zentangle books that I've just gotten. So I've got that. And if you like, that's the gem. Now, there's another way, like if I want to do this gem here, I've got it, already filled in, but I want to show you about the shading. So when you're shading your jewelry or your gems, I can shade here. Let's see. I'll just go here real quick. If I want to shade, I'll take my pencil, just a graphite pencil, if I can find one. I know I've got one somewhere. No, just graphite. You don't want to use I only have this right now, but just take some graphite and put it kind of like, I'm going to just go around this. I don't have my regular pencil with me, but just kind of think about the light as well. So I'm going to just blend that. Just take this and now I'm going to blend it using my little blending stump. I'm going to shade it. So it gives it that kind of a 3D light where the light's reflecting. It does kind of reminds me of sterling silver, just sort of a tarnished silver. And you can do that throughout all of these, just shade your lines like that, and that will give it that beautiful dimension. And just really just kind of take your time on the shading, leaving areas light and some areas dark. And then as you're doodling outward, so you can start making different shapes. If you wanted to make, let's say outside this, you can use your pencil to make your initial marks if you feel like doing that. But here I'm just going to make some larger circles, and these could be little miniature gems if I want them to be. Circular shapes, they're not really circles. They're a little odd, but slightly larger than the ones that I had made in here. And now I can take, if I want to, I can start making doodles. Like I could make leaf shapes. I think this would be fun, is to make a leaf shape. Starting in the center of this one, I'm going to just kind of make a leaf shape going out. And I'll do this on all, kind of an odd leaf shape going outwards. And now I've got this going on. And then what we do is we can make smaller leaf shapes in between, however you want to do this to fill this in. And really rotating your paper is probably better than what I was doing. I wasn't rotating it, and it just seems like rotating will give you a more consistent line. There you go. I'm just going to do it this way. It works a lot better. Just move it like that. And then I can start to doodle inside these lines. So now I've got this fun little shape going, and then it just can go from there. You can kind of outline to make the leaves really fun. You can just take a pen and kind of create this like an interior of a leaf shape here. You can do that to all the sides. I'm just going to go on the outside here. Like that. You can do that to all of your pieces, and then you can make lines that go. This is where you would take a lot of time and just make your little doodles. Make lines like that, and just start to fill in. And this is like hours of work, but you've got your gems. And then what I did here to make little gems is I followed the same idea. So if I wanted to make the little circles like I did with this one, you can see on this blue one, I made little miniature glass gems. And I did that by just taking this medium green that I had started with, like the medium color of green. And I left that white lighter area kind of, it's not as detailed, of course, as your initial gem because these are a lot smaller, but kind of following the same principle of your light, kind of going in a circle, leaving that light area below, and doing the same thing, having the light come from the same direction. And then you can just make your little mini gems the same way. You're just doing that. And that would give it a fun, another fun dimension too. So I'm going in a circle with my medium tone. I'm leaving that light in the center, kind of off center a little bit. And that's another good way to practice your gems is the little smaller ones. And plus it just gives it a lot more fun, more color to your drawing. I've got that. Now I go a little bit darker, just like I did with the other one. And then the same thing with these, you would also add highlight, just like you did with your larger stone. So you can see the dimensions kind of happening, and it's a little sloppier than the other one, but it's small, so it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do the little dark tone on the outside with my circle line or my shape. And then I can blend, of course, with my pencil, with my blender or the white pencil. So we've got that. And now I'll just blend it with the white. And then I can add my highlights afterwards, right? With my white pen. I've got the white pen, just a little touch, just like kind of a small version of what you did with the gem. And now you've got three-dimensional looking little mini gems. And just keep building from there. And then it'd be fun to see, take your time when you're making these, and you can, in like this one, it looks like a little bit of a leaf crack thing, and I can always just maybe change. Trying to think of how I could do this. I need to do something because it doesn't look like a natural crack for a gem, so I'm just going to add more lines through it, and then that's how you can just play with it, and maybe even observe in nature. Just look at gems like on the internet or how, just look and see how the imperfections and the inclusions, how those would affect. And it'd be fun to try different things like how to do turquoise, or how we can look at turquoise and duplicate that, or look at lapis lazuli or any natural stone. It'd be fun to just replicate that with our colored pencils. And I know we can.